Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Ladies and gentlemen,
let's get started.
I have thought a lot in the last 24 hours.
Time to get your weekly sports fix.
By the skin of their teeth they lost.
Then you can just ride it the whole thing.
With Stix.
Go ahead.
I forgot how handsome the anonymous big homie was.
Who can ever forget a pretty face?
You know how flattery works. It gets you all the places. You know what I mean? Even a little Browns love. We might even show y'all some love. Out here.
Yeah, we do brownies.
Doing some things, man.
Hey, we got a familiar voice back with us. Rudy from the Midwest. What's going on over there, brother? Nice to have you back. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad to be back. It's been I haven't been on since your 100th anniversary show, I think. So,
hey.
Oh, damn, yeah.
Glad to be back. I appreciate it. Yeah, good times. No, I was gonna say, you know me, I'm all about that football season. So now that we're back, it's like the weather's breaking, the leaves are changing, the rain is falling, trees are capsizing, like all the craziness is taking place in the mid-Atlantic autumn season, and it's exciting, man. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, how long have you been over there now?
We've been here a little bit over 3.5 years. We pushing 4 years, and it'll be 4 years in January.
There you go. Getting acclimated to the new hometown.
Give me an idea. What's the closest big major metropolis type of city?
Well, we're equal distance from Baltimore and DC.
Okay.
So it depends on what you're looking for, right? Like, okay. I mean, I work a lot of Nats games. So I get down there to the city a lot and see some Nats and stuff like that. And then, of course, Baltimore's got a football team that I don't like. But they've got a fun baseball team. The Orioles are fun to watch. They may not be great in the win column, but it's a great place to go watch a ball game. And everything else, man, restaurants and Baltimore's got like a theater district. I mean, it's great. There's nothing out here that we need that we don't have. It's pretty awesome.
That's cool, man. We just had some friends of ours that just moved out that way, and they said that they're on the Virginia side, but they're close. The closest thing to them is DC, so they're probably gonna in that same distance for you, but probably going the other way.
Yeah, they call it the DMV, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Like that's what this area is. And so I mean, they're probably like if they're anywhere near DC, they're probably no much further than an hour away from me.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're all just kind of in that little circle, but it's great. I love it out here. The weather is great. We get 4 seasons. There's snow, but it's not ridiculous like Chicago or Michigan snow. Like it's pretty good. A little bit of snow, a little bit of sledding, and then all the other stuff. Snowy season, rainy season. The leaves change color. It's great, man. I can't complain. Plus, I've always wanted to be near sports, and even there's even hockey. I'm not a big hockey fan, but I mean, you even got the Washington Capitals out here. Yes. So there's nothing that we need that's not out here.
Got it. I'll
say that now, and then we'll be transferred next. But anyway,
welcome back to the program.
What's going on with you and Nas, big homie?
Oh man, you know what? I mean, if I spend a little bit more time in the hospital, I'll be a medical professional like my man Rudy over here, man. This is come and go. It's nonstop. It's craziness, testing and EKGs and all of that. But I'm still breathing, still kicking, still motivated, still out here going hard, man, chilling, man. Everything's been cool in Federal Way, man. We get a little frost in the air, so a little morning dew, little fog. waiting for that good fall. The whole family is, man, fired up about that good fall coming back. And we're just like Rudy, man. As soon as that weather cooled down, we were like, yes, sir, let's go.
Man, you all fools with your cool weather stuff. I need that. I need that warm weather. I'd rather be sweating the huevos off than freezing. I'm already cold all the time anyways.
Not at all, man. Hey, nothing like a nice hot ass dip in the hot tub while it's raining outside.
Oh yeah, I'll go ahead and jump in my hot tub I have on my balcony out here.
I mean, I'm just saying, everybody got different experiences. It'd be different for everybody. I don't know.
Yeah, it must be nice to go just jump in that hot tub back there. You're gonna I hear you're building a little studio out there for the Sports Fix with Stix and Now It's Big Homie show.
Hey, I got to get my audio engineering degree first, but you know what? This stuff seems like it seems easier than I would perceive it to be. But the problem is, again, it's just all of these different programs and whatnot that goes along with all of this, plugging in wires and stuff like that. I mean, any man, that used to crawl on all fours can handle plugging in some wires, straight up. But
that's what we got the producer Chris Donovan for.
I mean, that's it. Sometimes some of this stuff, man, it just takes a little bit more complex thinking. And I just don't have the patience for some of these programs if you don't know some of the inner workings. But hey, be patient.
Right on, man. I got a question for you all. We all in the same boat real quick before we kick off some NFL talk, because we got to get into some NFL, so it's going to be a good show for y'all. You remember back in the day when you worked over 8 hours, you got overtime?
Hell yeah.
I'll tell you what, I don't know how you do it, Rudy. Those 24-hour shifts, whoo, I worked 12 hours, 2 days in a row, and gosh, it sucks being old. My body hurts from my toes to my last follicle on my bald ass head, man. But hey, I was thinking, I've talked to a couple customers that come in and they're like, man, you work 12 hours? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, well, you get overtime for 8, right? And I'm like, not in this day and age. Back in the day, 25 years ago, maybe, not no more.
The adjustments to the Washington State legal law poster has done away with the possibility for overtime in a lot of cases.
Yep, that's wild. So cool. Yeah, man, good to have you, Rudy, back with us.
Hey,
definitely get to hear some Cleveland Browns talk when we get to the Cleveland game for sure. I'd like to hear the insight because I have some Baker questions, and no better man than Mr. Rudy Lesko to answer that for us as well. So let's kick it off.
All right, the final score.
Welcome back in the house. Sports Fix with Stix, featuring the anonymous big homie and a special guest in the house. Goes by a lot of different names, multiple names, aliases, and all of that. But for this purpose, the man Rudy is in the house. Again, welcome back to the program, man. Good to hear from you again.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm excited to be here. I can't wait.
Shoot, man. Hey, it's been a while, man. So we reformatted a little bit and we set up some stuff, man. We make it a little bit easier for us to navigate through all of the stuff that's floating around in our brains with all of this stuff, man. But NFL Week 2 is in the books, man. We got a lot of storylines to cover. And get some of our feedback about what we did see and some of the stuff that we didn't see, some of the trends that's popping up that we're starting to notice and stuff like that. But, I mean, right off the bat, man, I just want to say, man, the first 2 weeks has been tough at the counter. Washington is not making it easy on us out here now that we're able to go to the facility, place a bet, receive a ticket in hopes for monetary gains. It's tough out here.
It's a little rough. It ain't like that Vegas style where you can roll around the corner and grab it after you get off work or something and pick it up. Got to make that little drive, which is all good. Yeah. Shout out Snoqualmie Casino. Pretty dope place. Glad that they're back. They're bringing Washington gambling to sports betting to Washington for sure. But yeah, man, that's why Rudy and Aaron say don't bet week 1 and 2.
Yo, and that becomes one of the storylines. So, like, I mean, right now we look at us. I mean, it's rough out there, but we're 16 wins and 22 losses, so it's down some money. We ain't gonna tell you how much, but I mean it's bad right now. But this is the first 2 weeks, and this is where you start to pick up on a couple of different trends that teams are doing, some of their mannerisms and things like that. So you know what, man? Let's start off with week 2 storylines, man. Let's just start off with let's start with Baltimore and KC, to be honest, man. And because there's been a lot of talk since that Sunday night football game. Everybody kind of considered Rodgers coming back and handling his business on Monday, which he did. But a lot of heat was on that Baltimore KC game. So, it turned out the way that it did, with Baltimore being able to stick in it and actually coming back to win. But the question that I want to pose out to the team, we'll start with you, Rudy. I'll let you, bat lead off. I just want to know, do you think that Baltimore actually beat KC, or did KC beat KC? The way that game turned out, if you happen to catch it. Let's us know what you felt from that game.
Yeah, so first of all, that was my mother's birthday, so happy birthday to Mom.
Hey.
Oh, shout out, Miss Lesko. Happy birthday.
So we threw that game on, and we were fortunate enough or unfortunate enough to see the ending of it. It's tough. It's really tough to think about, there's an entire game and you take all those different minutes, right? 60 minutes of a game that boiled down to the very end of, who wins and who loses. And they always say, well, there were plays earlier in the game and plays later in the game and whatever. But when you're driving to win the game, KC was unstoppable at that moment in time. If it wasn't for that fumble, yeah, absolutely, KC wins. I don't think there's any stopping them.
Going away.
Travis Kelce's unstoppable. Did you? I wasn't around to hear the commentary that you guys said about the Browns game after they played KC, but Patrick Mahomes is as legit as build. I mean, that dude, he's a magician. Like, if he was a point guard in basketball, he'd be the greatest point guard ever to live. I mean, this guy throws from every arm angle. He can escape the pocket. He can do everything he can. And I honestly believe, what was Chick Hearn? Who was the guy that used to say that the eggs are in the fridge and the butter was, remember the LA Lakers guy that said, remember that?
Of course, the mustard's out the hot dog, the jello's jiggling, and the butter is cooling.
That's right. That was what was going on. That game was over. They were icing it, and KC had them exactly where they wanted them. Edwards-Helaire fumbles the ball, and then to say that Patrick Mahomes is unstoppable, you kind of got to say that so's Lamar Jackson in a sense. And I love that little clip where they show Harbaugh yelling from the sideline, Lamar, you want to go for this? I mean, I love that. I love when coaches get the players involved and let players who are in the game and feeling it, and Lamar knew what to do. And so once you give the ball back to Lamar, that it's over. But yeah, I would say absolutely KC lost that game. What's interesting is that I would also say that the week prior, the Browns lost the game to KC, right? By the interception where Baker was trying to throw it out of bounds. And then, by the way, I think Edwards-Helaire hasn't fumbled for years or something like that. So, I mean, uncharacteristic fumbles. But what would we be looking at right now if KC was 0-2? How would that conversation be going if they would have gotten beaten by both of the top AFC North teams? But anyway, enough rambling from me. But yes, KC lost the game. I think Baltimore didn't beat them. KC beat themselves in that particular contest.
I agree. I agree with the KC beat themselves, but for a different reason. They beat themselves because they were a bunch of bitches and didn't go for a touchdown. That's what I'm saying. When you play ball, when you play not to lose, that's the shit that happens. They should have just went down and scored another touchdown. I mean, both defenses are trash anyways, but yes, you play to kick a field goal because you only needed a field goal to win. But when you have that type of offense, when you can just go for a touchdown, go for a freaking touchdown, Andy Reid.
We've been saying this before, the lack of aggression in the NFL as the game winds down is crazy. I wish I could remember this fourth quarter stat I heard, but I can't. It's not coming to me right now. But So what the translation for what I got from you jokers is that that game cost Stix some money. And Rudy is putting everything on Edwards-Helaire. All right, moving on.
Facts, though. Facts.
I mean, for real though. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, a lot of stuff has been said about all these quarterbacks that were taken in the first round. So, you know, a couple of these guys are getting a chance to start, man. I mean, these rookie quarterbacks are looking a little rough around the edges right now. I mean, I personally think that some of the decision-making skills are suspect. I don't know what happens when you get under the lights and then you come to the NFL. Do you get that much more sketchy, or your boots start shaking that much more? Or are you that ill prepared? And I refuse to think that two of those things are true. Or maybe one, but man, Stix, what's up, man? What do you think with these quarterbacks? I mean, and all these young quarterbacks and all these interceptions from Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence, just interception machines out here.
Man, I feel that we were both wrong about these two, because you were high on Zach Wilson, right? And I was high in college, right? Yeah. And I was high on Trevor Lawrence. I thought he was going to do a lot better. I mean, it is 2 games in. They're getting different looks, different defenses, quicker, obviously, NFL players than they are in college. So, you got grown men out there running around. But, hopefully they turn it around just, for the sake of the game and the sake of their confidence. I mean, what did Wilson, did they both throw like 3 interceptions last week or some shit like that? So, it's good. Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm not gonna throw these dudes as a bust or anything like that in the NFL yet. I think they have time. Both have first year head coaches, new systems. They got to learn all that. So, I'd say give them a chance. Lay off Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence.
Rudy, you impressed? What's up?
Gone are the days.
He's been waiting
where that first year quarterback, right? Where that first year quarterback's going to sit for the first 8 games or even the first season, right? Like, these guys aren't prepared. They're not prepared to come in here and start, like you said, against the speed that the NFL brings. Aaron and I were talking. Aaron Jones, remember him? We were talking not too long ago about the differences between pro style and college style offenses in college. Like, a lot of these guys are coming into the league like Justin Fields, for example. I mean, who knows what he's going to do on Sunday when he comes in here and has to see this pro style defense, and he's not used to that type of offense. And you just can't run a college style offense in the pros. It doesn't work. If it did, then football would look completely differently, but the speed's too great. So now we had a shortened, I feel like I should have been on more calls before this, because you guys probably talked about this stuff, but we have the shortened preseason. We're already missing 3 games. Right now we're down to 3 preseason games, so we're already missing a game. A lot of people didn't play. I mean, I know notably, like in the AFC, like a lot of players weren't playing because the risk of injury is too great. And so you don't have these rookie guys this chance to kind of gel. I mean, I sent you guys that text message about Cam Newton and stuff, but I mean, like, really, Cam may have should have stayed, and he may have should have taken those first few starts and kind of gotten that team off the ground, gotten that team in a rhythm. Maybe Cam's not the kind of guy that does that. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers isn't the kind of guy that wants to eventually, give the reins over. Ben Roethlisberger doesn't want to do it. I mean, a lot of these folks don't want to do it. But the fact is, I think at the end of the day, these new rookie quarterbacks need more time to grow, and they will. I was looking up while you guys were talking too. Like, I mean, Mahomes did it. Herbert's doing it, right? And these guys, they weren't overall draft picks. They didn't have all that pressure, right? They got draft first round guys, but later on, I think Mahomes went number 10. When did Justin Herbert get drafted? When did the dude from the Giants get drafted? Daniel
Herbert was like 8, I think.
Yeah.
Right. So these guys don't have pressure on them anyway. But then there's also that aspect of, if you get drafted number 1 overall, like Trevor Lawrence, it's because you're going to a garbage team, right? Like, everybody knew that the Jaguars were garbage to begin with. That's why they had the number 1 pick. Like, this conversation has gone on over and over again, but they don't have a guy. I mean, they get rid of Gardner Minshew or whatever, and they don't have another guy. there's also this huge pressure. They're talking about like DBs, like the new DB for the Browns. Like he beat out Greedy Williams because he's the first round pick. And there's this expectation that your first round picks are going to come in and start right away. And you might be able to do that on the offensive line. You might be able to do that as a linebacker or a DB, but as a quarterback, like we almost have to protect these guys from themselves and from the game. And again, gone are the days.
I mean, a lot of that is true, but I don't know, man. I just think that just like when you look at all these other sports from Little League up, when you're playing these sports, I would think that as the games evolve, that some of these coaches and stuff get these guys and show them and teach them a little bit more presence and patience, that it's not all just, hot and go, that they would be a little bit more prepared, man. And I think some of these young guys are putting some of these coaches, like you talked about, in some tough positions with these first year coaches, but they'll be coming back. Speaking of a first year coach.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
This is a throw up a softball, man. Hey, to me, I don't know about you guys, but it sure looks like Urban Meyer might be looking for the back door already. Okay.
Hey, that's Rudy's boy.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's where I'm going first, but it's already rumors circulating around the team facilities and things like this, that he's hard on the assistants. He doesn't look right. He doesn't have any of the visuals when they're panning to him on the sideline. He looks depressed, looks like he's visibly pissed off at his squad. And he really don't look like he has to be there, especially when he said that he had to quit a couple times before for health reasons and family reasons. So, man, Rudy, is Urban Meyer looking for the back door already or what?
I don't understand that hire from the beginning. Like, why hire that guy? I mean, look, what he did in college football was great, right? But
he wanted to do
he's not a pro he's not a pro coach. But and then you said, I think the most important thing that you said in there was the fact that the last two teams he got out of his contracts early with Florida and with Ohio State. Like, he's a great coach when he's there, but that's at the college level. Like, what was the point? He's of advanced age, and I'm not an ageist, but he's of advanced age. You got young, dynamic, Sean McVay type quarterback or type coaches all over the league. These young dudes hungry for a chance. You could get they could have thrown the Oklahoma quarterback or coach, not coach. Help me out. It's been a while. The Oklahoma Sooners head coach, the offensive-minded dude that turned Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray into first-round picks. Like, they could have said, "Hey, we're giving you Trevor Lawrence and Lincoln Riley." Right? I mean, like, what was the point of that hire in the first place? Like, what does Urban Meyer have to prove? What were the Jaguars trying to get off the ground? Like, he's going to be there, even if he's mildly successful, he's going to be there 2-3 years at the most, and then you're back in this hiring thing. Whatever.
The hiring process for sure.
I don't know. It blows my mind. Like, why? It's like a waste. It's like a wasted hire. It's just a way. And I mean, when you don't go from having the first pick. When was the last time? How long does it take on average for the first pick in the draft team to make it to the Super Bowl? Like, that would be interesting information to look up. Like, is it an average? Does it take 5-6 years to turn your team around? How many teams have gone from having the first pick 1 year to making the Super Bowl in the next few years? I guarantee you it's outside of the window of time that Urban Meyer wants to coach anyway. So I don't understand the point. And if it falls apart on them, it's only their fault.
That makes a lot of sense. I got nothing to argue with there, and I shout out Urban Meyer as being Rudy's boy because he's an Ohio State fan for y'all out there. So a Buckeye coach going to the NFL. So I wanted to hear Rudy's insight on that for sure.
Yeah, man. So like we talked about, I was telling you, pretty much what I've noticed that the trend is becoming is there's a couple of themes that are coming out. We talked about these rookie quarterbacks because that was all the talk of the offseason since the draft. And now one of the things just rearing its ugly head is not COVID this year. Again, it is the injuries. And I posed this question to you guys offline a couple of weeks back. I said, what's the source of all of these injuries? Has this situation been looked into, or are these all just a bunch of freak incidents? Some of them are happening in games. Some of them are happening at practice and other things. But I mean, week 2, we saw quarterback injuries from Tua with the rib injury. We saw Tyrod go out with a ham. We saw Wentz, the Rams put him on the deck, and we said, no, don't walk around both ankles, brother. Just hop around like a sack race. Andy Dalton with a knee. Big Ben's breasticles are messed up. I don't know what's going on with all of this. We got the 49ers running back room. Baltimore's running back room.
Good Lord.
The Rams, they lost D. Henderson. We got to go. Lucky we got Sony Michel. We lost 2 running backs now. And now, so we're looking at all of these different injuries, man. Stix, what do you think of all these injuries and how that's affecting things? Because that's affecting the way that I look at these weeks because these people keep falling off.
For real, though, because I think Rudy referenced to it earlier. He was like, talking about the preseason type things, and we kind of referenced that offline too when we were texting the group text about that too as well. And then announced big homie, you forgot that breaking news earlier today about an hour ago was Lamar Jackson sat out of practice because of his hip or something, and now they're trying to say because he was flipping into the end zone, which I wouldn't doubt.
Yeah,
but and he didn't get a taunting call, by the way. Don't get us started on that, I'm sure. But
it wasn't in anybody's face.
That's right. It was away from being, since there was no defender around him, from 10 yards or whatever. But yeah, man, it's crazy with all these injuries, like you referenced to the San Francisco running backs. I mean, shit, if you guys can hold on to a football, go throw on some pads, you can go get a tryout right now. Anybody out there who thinks they can, want to go back to their 20s and be a running back and take a couple hits, fire it up. I'm sure they're on Indeed or whatever. You can get a tryout with San Francisco, but I don't believe, I believe that it is part of not having, any in 2020, they didn't have any preseason. This year they had minimal preseason, but that's kind of my point of, what's the point of preseason when these guys don't play? They go from the playoffs or their last game of the season, and they sit around. They can't go to the facilities to work out, and they don't get any reps. They get all these practice reps, but they don't get any game reps. And then you get into the game. I mean, who's to say what's going on when they're? I mean, I'm not putting yourself into an athlete perspective of it. I mean, yes, you're going to go 100%, 110% of the time, right? Hopefully. But if they're not getting reps in preseason and getting that game speed and all that, then sometimes your body just doesn't acclimate to that, as a former athlete that I am, right? So I know some things, but that's what I think. I just think they don't get enough reps, and they get into these games, and it just speeds up on them sometimes. And then you try to do too much because it's still early. You haven't had to work out a little kinks and in the armor, so to speak. So, but man, it's rough in the injury front, that's for sure. It definitely makes to reevaluate some game picks, like we'll talk about soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not only the way that we're looking at these games and trying to manage how much of a downgrade you give for this quarterback injury, this running back injury. I don't know about you guys, but this has personally decimated my chances for fantasy football. I'm rethinking everything that I know about everything. It is all bad. But see, here's the last trend here that I've noticed, and I think me and Stix, we both noticed this week 2. Scoring is up. Now, when I say scoring, I'm talking about point scoring. Why? For 2 major reasons. Okay, there are very minimal punts this year. Teams are not punting; they are going. Okay, we just alluded earlier to Harbaugh yelling down on the field to Lamar, "You want to go or what? Let's do it." Okay, so people are going more, where you might get an old school cat like Tomlin. He might have punted in that situation and said, "We're going to put the defense back out there." And also, because my boy loves the over 3.5 field goals so much, we have also learned that field goals are down for that exact same reason. When you get into the red zone, green zone, whatever you want to call it nowadays, that teams are more likely to take these points and go get them since they work so hard to get down there. Shoot, man, I mean, we got Kyler, he's throwing for 3 touchdown passes and, rushing for a TD, two games in a row. You got Brady going absolutely nutcake so far. 9 TDs so far in 2 weeks. He's probably going after the 55 from Peyton Manning. Man, what do you guys think about all of this scoring that's popping up?
Go ahead, Rudy. I know you got something on this.
You like it? Love it? Leave it?
I love the going forward on 4th down. I mean, I honestly do, right? Like, I mean, I understand the idea and the aspect of flipping the field. So, like, you get to the 40-yard line, whatever. You're too far away to kick a field goal. You don't want to give the ball back on the 40, and your team only has to go 60 yards to score. So you punt, hopefully pin them, in down by the 5, and now they got to go 95 yards to score. But teams can go 95 yards to score. And going back to Lamar Jackson, I guarantee you that if Baltimore would have punted, Patrick Mahomes would have gone 95 yards and they would have won that game on Sunday night, right? So, like, I love the idea. Go for it. If you don't have a pocket full of plays that you could pick up 2 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards, if you can't draw a team off sides, if you can't do that, then, you got something wrong. So I think it's super exciting. What wasn't it the XFL a few years ago? They had no punting, or that at least they floated the idea out of like, we're not punting at all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're going for it. So I love it. I think it's great. And I've said this before. I said this about baseball on a podcast last year, 2 years ago. Like, it is offense that draws in the crowds. It is offense that people want to see. I mean, we do love to see quarterbacks. I mean, defensive ends taking quarterbacks down, and we love to see those safety over the middle popping those guys. But right, that league is gone. Now you can't land on a guy and you can't hit a guy in a certain spot and all these different things for protection reasons. So what's gone down is the big hits that we're accustomed to, and what's gone up is the scoring. And it's what people want to see. It's kind of what I want to see. I mean, I like it. So you're not going to hear complaints out of me. I mean, I'm sure that, we could talk the whole other side, add in that defensive aspect of what defense brings to the league and the championships and all that stuff. But I go for it, man. Go for it. I love it.
First of all, I cannot believe that they don't have faith in these kickers, man. Kickers are a very detrimental or a very great piece to your football team. Okay. So, in the second half, when you don't want to score any points, you need to at least kick a field goal to end the first half and then come out, and the team that gets the ball in the second half needs to drive the ball down, get stopped at the 35 and kick a 40, 50, 2-yard field goal, not punt the ball. Okay. I'd rather see you, Rudy, you're talking about points. We need points, right? We need points to get to the over. And we also need these field goal kickers to be on the field so they don't go out in the second half and go to kick an extra point and miss an extra point like Jason Myers did for the Seahawks on Sunday. So they need to get more action in the game. So for your football teams,
wait, are you
what?
Are you advocating? Yes, not going forward on 4th down simply to get your kicker loose in the second quarter so that he is ready to kick the ball. Like you have a shot at going for it on 4th and 2 and possibly putting 7 on the board, but you'd rather, instead of go for 4th and 2, you'd rather put 3 on the board so that come end of the game time, the kicker's mentally and physically loose and ready to go kick, and then he can win that game winner if it boils down to a game winner at the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if you're going for it, if you're putting 7 on the board every time you get the ball, then probably not going to come down to a field goal at the end.
Okay.
Like that kicker, these kickers, if I could make my kids millionaires right now, I'd be outside. We'd be kicking field goals
all day.
My daughter might be hitting a golf ball, but my boys would be out kicking field goals. Like, it's got to be the easiest way to make $1 million in the world,
yes, sir.
Right? All the pressure's on you, but I mean, these guys just kick all day long, right? So I'm not buying it. I'm not buying the fact that you got to kick a field goal in the second or third quarter just so that your kicker's ready and his head's in the game. This guy, he can keep his head in the game. Go for it. Give me 7 points.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I am saying my pocketbook needs a little extra cash flow. Okay. So when I want these kickers to kick at least 3.5 field goals a game between the two of those jackals, then I need at least 1 or 2 in the first half. And then I need at least 1 at the beginning of the third quarter, sometime in the third quarter. So in the fourth quarter, when the game comes down to the winning field goal, gives me that extra adrenaline rush. Because then the team's going to win and hit the over. And they also get the over 3.5 field goals with the points. Yes, I'm not saying that you shouldn't go for it on 4th and 2 at the 40-yard line like you referenced to. But how do you in all seriousness, now what the fuck are these guys doing in the second half? The first half, sometimes they come out, guns a-blazing, there's points all over the board. And then you go into the second half and you score 10 points total between the two teams or 15 or whatever it is, right? So where does the projection of the first half game plan going into the second half game plan? And if we talk about the Seahawks real quick, when you get into the second half, you're up by 15 and you want to attempt to outcoach the other coach. So everybody's trying to outcoach each other, but they lose focus on the point scoring, like you referenced to, Rudy. Everybody wants to see points on the board and touchdowns and all that. I agree 100%. So do I. But where does the freaking second half game plan come into play? Because they're not really putting the pedal to the metal like Announce Big Homie and I referenced to before.
Clearly somebody has an ulterior motive for their over 3.5 field goal bet that they enjoy. That's clearly all that is. That was just propaganda for the over 3.5 field goals. That's all that was. But since you're on this topic, let's stay right here. Let's call you to the table on behalf of your Seattle Seahawks. What's up with this defense or lack thereof that they're throwing out on the field? Or are you telling me that Derrick Henry is that much of a Mack truck? Is he that much of a king, as they say? Show me your king. Where is your king? Okay. What's going on out in Seattle, man? They're the only one in our division with a loss at this point in the NFC West. Let's put it out there for the people. Tell me, when Derrick Henry is touching the ball, rushing 35 times for 182, getting 3 TDs, and still catching it, he don't need that secondary back. When you know all the focus is there, what's going on? Tell us about it.
Yo, that's crazy. But in Seattle's defense, they gave up 500 and something yards or whatever it was. Absolutely terrible. But all defenses are terrible in the NFL right now, besides maybe Carolina, who plays tonight. You just can't give up that many yards. And in the second half, you just can't play scared to play scared and not think you're going to give the other team a chance. But that's what Derrick Henry does, right? We've all talked about it. We talked about it last year when we were all on Rudy and Announce Big Homie and Aaron Jones too. We talk about how Derrick Henry gets, 10 to 15 touches in the first half, and he's going to get another 10 to 15 in the second half. And they just wear you down, right? They just wear you down. Tennessee does in that aspect of it. But, the Seattle defense can't cover anybody. Seems like they were played a lot of zone, if I remember correctly. And they're scared to have their defensive backs play one-on-one. But then again, I mean, you can't touch these receivers like Rudy referenced to earlier. It's the good old days are gone, right? Like for the defense. But in my opinion, we saw it on Sunday night too. Kansas City and Baltimore, both those defenses were trash. Baltimore's defense in Las Vegas the week before on Monday night was trash. So I think the defenses are just not able to keep up with these the new rules as well. But then again, maybe it goes to coaching. We've talked about coaching before. We've talked about, from the head coach to the player coaches, to, where does it fall and lie? And we saw last week in Honest Big Homie where the New Orleans Saints had 8 of their coaches out or whatever it was, and they got decimated in week 2, not having their coaches there. So coaching plays a big role in this, but Derrick Henry is a beast, and he is a player with, get this, I saw this today, 180 yards rushing with multiple rushing TDs in the last 4 seasons. Derrick Henry has 7, and then Dalvin Cook, Todd Gurley, Mostart, and then Jonathan Taylor have 1. So the defense, to answer your question off Big Homie, the defense is not good. They can't give up. Any defense that gives up 500 yards is not going to win the game a lot of the times, right? The percentages are not in your favor.
Rudy, I think at the beginning we were talking about I think Vegas had Tennessee with a 9 as far as win total. And I hear a lot of experts talking about, taking an under. I think we both agreed, me and Stix both agreed that it would be up, and we called them, I think, a 10-win team. I know we were talking about Seattle, but if you got a little Tennessee, or Seattle insight for us, let us know.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details. With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details. With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
You're listening to your weekly sports fix with Stix.
Derrick Henry is the man. He really is, right? That dude's not for years. For years. It's been, 2 seasons ago, not last season, but the season before that, he won the rushing title when Nick Chubb thought he had it locked up, and then came out last year and was ridiculous. He's going to go over 2,000 yards this year. Dude's ridiculous, right? You got to give him credit for who he is and what he is, and he is ridiculous. But I'd like to kind of table this conversation. I'd like for us to revisit this conversation in, say, 10 more weeks. And the reason why I say that is because I think that in the current NFL game right now, I think if you had to decide who takes longer to congeal together, an offensive unit or a defensive unit, I think it would be the defensive unit. Offenses have mobile quarterbacks, blazing fast receivers, right? They have all these weapons, and defenses have to be able to adjust. They have to work together. There was a conversation about Myles Garrett made a comment about how just give him and Jadeveon Clowney time because they just need time. They've only played 2 games together, but they'll get it on track. So I would like to do that specifically with this topic. I'd like to wait about 10 weeks, 12 weeks, get us toward the back quarter of the season and see where these defenses are at the time. Because I'll bet you that they're gonna slow down. I was gonna make a comment about second half. You talked about second half scoring being down versus first half scoring, and I think some of that's got to be related to the defenses making adjustments. They come out, they see what looks the offense gives them. They change their looks that they're given. Like, what's awesome is to watch like the Manning brothers and hear these guys talk about like set formations and setups. And I think it's why Tony Romo was so exciting. I mean, I've learned things. I thought I knew a lot about football. I've learned things about football, like how you can set up your offense to determine whether or not the defense is in man coverage or zone by if a linebacker's guarding the tight end. If the tight end's I heard someone say if the tight end's being guarded by a cornerback, it's zone coverage. If he's being guarded by a linebacker, it's man coverage. Like, now, can the defense switch that? Can they show man coverage and then switch to a zone at the last minute and confuse the quarterback? So I'm just saying, let's talk in about 10 weeks and let's see like what defenses have done. And let's see if maybe that Seattle, I know they're not the Legion of Boom anymore. Probably far from it, but let's see where they get back to. Let's see if they establish themselves as a defensive identity, and let's see what they're able to do with the likes of Matthew Stafford and Kyler Murray and these guys. I'm curious.
I think we referenced that earlier when Rudy was on about the NFC West. Maybe it was the 100th episode that we did. Maybe we talked a little bit about the NFC West being so prominent with all these quarterbacks. You never know what the hell's going to happen with these dudes, man. I mean, solid quarterback starting QB1s for that division.
Fair is fair.
If they keep those guys healthy, man, that's going to be exciting.
See, he plays the wait and see card. He hit us with that in baseball too, and we were looking at him. We was like, okay, yeah, good point. All right, we'll let it go.
Hey.
Who, me?
If I set it up that we have a conversation in 10 weeks, I guarantee I'm going to get invited back. That's what it is. I'm like that girl that leaves something at your house, so you have to invite her back to come pick it up. That's all I'm doing. I'm cementing myself. 10 weeks down the road, I'll have a job on the podcast to make sure I get something to come talk about.
Yo. Hey, I mean,
nothing wrong with that.
I talked a little bit about Brady, man, and it just never ceased to amaze me seeing that this dude is only a couple months more older than I am, and he's out there doing it at the highest level. I picked up on a crazy stat, man. I wanted to lace y'all up with. I talked about how he already has 9 TDs through 2 weeks, but on top of that, after playing the Falcons in week 2, and we talked about earlier on in preseason about how the NFL is building these narratives, and they set up this season and the schedule for Tampa Bay to whereas Brady is against teams that he has beat in the Super Bowl, which is pretty amazing that they set that up. But so you think about Brady's whole career. So regular season and preseason passing TDs is the basis for this, right? Follow me on this one. In his 20s, Brady threw 167 TD passes. In his 40s, regular season and postseason TD passes, 154. He's light 13 touchdowns from his 20s. There is zero regression there. Whatever Alex Guerrero is hooking them up with, that stuff is popping. I need some, and I need it on auto replenish at my door, like Amazon, Whole Foods, Freshly. I need it on auto replenishment. This is crazy. So that leads me to ask, I mean, with the narrative of Brady visiting all of these teams that he beat in Super Bowls, clearly playing for the Patriots and again for the Bucs last year, is there a quarterback that's currently playing that hates Brady more than Matt Ryan? Look how he just got did. Who runs up again? And the first meeting was fairly embarrassing, 28-3. Okay, we'll keep that on the hush. Super Bowl situations, Atlanta Falcons, New England Patriots. But the only name I could come up with even close would be Peyton. Peyton probably because of the Patriots' success. Does Matt Ryan have as much hatred for Brady as Peyton Manning has discussed? Rudy, what's up?
Man, Peyton Manning's on top of the world. Like, seriously? Like, I don't think Peyton Manning's got a hateful bone in his entire body. Like, that dude, I mean, he's the most sought after retired football player that's out there, right? Like, I mean, I don't want to make this conversation about Peyton Manning. You brought that up in the last minute. I was thinking about Matt Ryan. But I mean, remember the job that Peyton did on the ESPYs a couple of years ago? I mean, like, that dude's funny. He's smart. Like, no, Peyton Manning's good. Peyton Manning, I'm sure, probably loves Tom Brady. But you think about these other guys. I'll give you another guy, and he hasn't necessarily gotten whooped by Tom Brady as bad as Matt Ryan over the years, but like a Drew Brees. Like, some of these guys, they would have been much more notorietable. Is that a word? Had they not been playing in those years of Tom Brady. You know what I thought about Tom Brady was he's like Kobe Bryant. Like, we talk about Kobe Bryant had 2 Hall of Fame careers, one as number 8 and one as number 24. Like, Tom Brady's done the same thing. He's got 2 different, maybe even 3 different Hall of Fame careers, 20s, 30s, and 40s. Like, he's unbelievable. But to answer your question, Matt Ryan is a good quarterback. Like, do you remember years ago, like, Matt Ryan was one of the first quarterbacks to go in almost every fantasy football. Like, he had what's the name? Oh, wow. Julio Jones. Like, he had, like, they had weapons. And I mean, like, Matt Ryan was something else. And yeah, Matt Ryan is not he is not even listed in the top anything. Like, what's his quarterback, like, rankings, like the quarterback power ranking? I mean, like, he's down there in the 20s. So
for sure,
man.
Yeah. Now
I feel bad for Matt Ryan, because I think I'll say we forget how good, how prolific Matt Ryan was as a passer, and how we all wanted him on our fantasy team years ago. Man, dude was there, but not anymore.
Facts. I remember having Matt Ryan for sure. Back in the day, wanting that duo between him and Julio Jones, and shit, man, he was solid too, for sure. Hey, Rudy's got a bounce here in about 5-10 minutes, so let's I want to hit real quick on the Chicago Cleveland game, because we need the Cleveland Browns insight real quick before he rolls out, because no one better. I don't care who or what people think around the Cleveland area. If you need to know some Cleveland sports talk, and especially Cleveland football, Cleveland Indians, this dude has you. So, Rudy, we got Chicago at Cleveland, another home game, only favored by 7 this week instead of 13 the week before, which we know what happened last week. They did win. So 45.5 over under. And don't forget, you are back. You haven't been here in a while. We need a hometown play of the week from your Browns.
Let's have it.
So first of all, they're only 7-point favorites, right? Going in. Did you see that they're already 1-point favorites against the Vikings, and they haven't even finished playing the Bears yet? So I'm not worried about point spreads. Like, when it comes to my team, I don't bet on that team. So I just can't talk about point spreads. But first of all,
here we go.
Is Baker Mayfield not the toughest man in the world? Did you guys see what Baker Mayfield did? Like, did you guys see what happened where he tackled the DB that intercepted the ball, popped his shoulder out, went in the tunnel, popped it back in, then came back in? Did you see that? It's all over Instagram or Twitter or whatever, but where he threw that dude to the ground with his right arm. Like, they come in and Chubb runs off right tackle, and Baker hands off the ball and just kind of turns and gets into blocking mode. And one of the DBs comes around the corner to try to go and come up from behind and get Nick Chubb. And Baker steps in front of him. They hit a couple of times, and you can see that Baker's protecting his left arm, takes his right arm, puts it in the middle of this dude's chest, and pushes this man to the ground.
That was awesome.
I mean, he is as tough as they come. the biggest question is always going to be about Baker Mayfield all this year and offseason, and then even the next couple of years is Baker Mayfield a $40 million quarterback? And of course, that remains to be seen. But know that the Browns have had such bad luck with quarterbacks over the years. They're going to overpay. Colin Cowherd's going to go nuts when Baker finally signs his contract and stuff. But that's for another podcast. But what I'm concerned about right now is the lack of wide receiver depth that they have on the Browns, right? Jarvis Landry's out now. He's going to miss 3 games. This is the first time he's ever been on IR. He missed 1 game last year due to COVID on a near exposure. Didn't even have COVID, but he missed the game, and that was the first game he missed in his career. Now he's going to miss 3 on IR. I believe we're getting Odell back.
That's what I hear.
But have those guys have they had enough chance? Baker and Odell had enough opportunity to build some chemistry over the offseason. Again, with Odell not playing any preseason games. So I think that might be where some of those numbers have fallen when you talk about point spreads. I think if Jarvis was in there, I think if Odell was in there, I think if the whole offensive team was healthy in that point, you got an injured left tackle with a bum ankle, and he's out there giving you his all. But I think that kind of averages him out a little bit as a player. So I think that's where the decrease comes in. I think what you're going to see, though, is I think that Justin Fields won't be ready for a defense like what the Browns are going to throw at him. And as we've talked about defense, I think this will be the Browns' 3rd game. They have an all-star cast on defense. It's only a matter of time before they have that defense shows up. The first game of the year, we all knew they were going to give up a ton of points. They play against Kansas City with a brand new defense, with a brand new cast of characters. So I think this is the game where the defense gets it back on. And then this is the game where the defense sets that tone. They go into Chicago, play against Chicago. I think the defense is going to dominate. They're going to go into Minnesota next week. I think the defense is going to dominate. And I think they're going to be back on track. I think that Homie's going to have to put them above number 6 on the on the power rankings. I think right now we're going to see offensively. I think you're going to see a lot of Nick Chubb. I think you're going to see a lot of Kareem Hunt, and I think you're going to see a lot of kind of short passes over the middle to the tight ends, which is what worked as soon as Jarvis went down and Baker hurt his shoulder. I think they're fortunate that they're not playing against one of the top tier teams right now, but I think it's also okay because remember last year, the first game of the year, they got absolutely embarrassed by the Ravens and then ended up winning 11 games. So I think they're going to be fine. I think that they're going to be back, but there's definitely questions on offense at wide receiver.
I believe that let me see. First of all, I think that they should utilize Njoku and Hooper a little bit more because I think that with all the weapons, you're like you said, Rudy, they especially if Landry's out and they got Beckham. If Beckham's back, there's how much chemistry do they actually have with each other? Maybe it's time for Donovan Peoples-Jones to step up. He's had like a little bit of a low year. I think he has maybe like 6 catches, if I'm correct. I'm not 100% perfect sure on that, but he was a big factor last year with T. Higgins, right, as well.
Mm-hmm.
When Baker was throwing the ball around. So Baker still has those weapons, but same offensive coordinator from last year, Rudy, or no?
Yeah, same offense, same scheme, and same coordinator. It's really interesting, right? Because like the Browns have this sort of like they get in these rhythms, and so Rashard Higgins is definitely one of those guys. Like he will be in this game. He'll play a lot more of a factor. The Browns come out. What I've noticed is they set up this scheme, right? They set up this plan, and they come out, and that these guys are so smart. Kevin Stefanski, and we've talked about their Ivy League graduate, everybody running their program is in, Ivy League graduates. These guys are like super intelligent. They build these schemes. And then when Jarvis Landry goes down on the second play and then Baker Mayfield pops his shoulder out, they have to adjust on the fly. And they didn't, when they're doing their walkthroughs and game planning to have their big guys that are there, that's the plan that they made. And so then all of a sudden to have that change, that you're going to run the ball, more times than 26 other teams in the league. And you know that Chubb and Hunt are going to do their thing. But when you have your game plan and then all of a sudden it goes to hell and back because a couple of guys went down, you weren't expecting to go down. So I think they're going to game plan differently. I think you're going to see a completely different scheme prepared for the Bears than what you saw, prepared for the last two games. And, but they're streaky. They're hot, right? Like, I mean, Rashard Higgins is great. Like, I mean, when I say great, I don't mean like he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Like, I mean, he's great for Baker Mayfield. Like they established this connection, and for whatever reason, that interception over the middle to the new guy, Schwartz, that quit on his route. I'm sure you guys have seen that video a few times by now, which was if he would have gone for the ball, he would have caught it. Probably would have been a touchdown. He quits on the route, and the ball goes right to the safety, and that's where Baker got hurt. Rashard doesn't do that. Rashard doesn't quit on routes. Rashard's where he's supposed to be. I mean, the man's precise when it comes to routes. He's not the fastest guy. He doesn't have the most sure hands, but he's there. Peoples-Jones is the same way. That dude's a burner. Like, he can run. Like, he's fast. He doesn't look it because he's so tall, but he's almost like a Josh Gordon, right? Like, I mean, he just starts running these big, long strides. Like, but they're so rhythmic, and they're so, I don't want to call it streaky because that makes it sound bad. But I think what you're going to see is that as these guys start to develop this rhythm over the course of the season, Baker's go-to guys are going to, that cream will rise to the top, and I think they'll be fine. I will tell you that they've played two kind of crappy games over the past 2 weeks with the turnovers against the Chiefs and just really kind of not being great against the Texans last week, and they're 1-1. Like, that's the mark of when a team's used to be 0-16 and 1-15, when they can, I don't like cussing on the podcast because my family sometimes listens, but when they play like shit on a particular game and still win, that's the mark of when they're no longer the old Browns. So I'm encouraged. I think it might take a few more weeks. The defense is going to congeal. Everything's going to start coming together, but I think you're going to see what we're all expecting to see from all these players, and they're going to have no choice but to give Baker 40.
And look, I am, barring injury of any epic proportion from QB1 Baker Mayfield, I am not backing off my prediction of them going over and being a 12-win team. I like what they have going out there for one reason and one reason only, is mainly the QB1. Now, all of the guys need to get out there. It's been already proven that Odell Beckham is not a requirement for that team's success. It's an addition. It was great if he was there, but if you stick to the game plan, things work out. They lost a tough one week one, came back. They are in a very tough division where everybody is currently 1-1. Okay. Pittsburgh is the only team that seems to be taking a step to regression. Okay. But the reason why I'm going to stick with it, because if the boy, Baker Mayfield, Mr. Commercial, continues this run of 80% complete percentage, which he has, pass percentage, which he has through 2 weeks, which is a record, okay, which was slid onto my desk as a useless stat of the day, okay? If he keeps that up, it don't matter whose name is on the back of the jersey, as long as it says the land on the front.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
You got to roll. You got to do.
I think. Yeah, it's just, it's like I said, it's kind of about time. It's been a long time coming, and so it's going to be an exciting year, and I hope that I get the opportunity to give more input. My first podcast back, I texted you and said that, I was going to be maybe a little bit slow, because I just got to get in the rhythm of it. But I'm excited, man. Thanks for having me back. Go Browns. Man. This will be exciting to see how it goes, and I'll be excited to get back on the next podcast with you guys, or whenever you can, or whether I can, or whatever. But we'll give some insight. But no matter what, I'll see you in 10 weeks for our defensive conversation. Right?
It's booked. It's already in pen in the address book. We got an old
on the calendar, baby. Hey, thanks a lot, Rudy. Enjoy your day, bro. Appreciate you coming on.
Yep.
We'll talk to you soon, bro.
Yep. Take care. We'll see you later.
All right, bro. Later.
Hey, look, man. See, you know what? We let him off the hook. We didn't hold them down. Next time we're gonna hold them to a homie's hometown play of the week, man. We ain't going out like that. He was on a roll though. He was passionate. I like him bringing the passion. But next time I'm gonna hold his feet to the fire, and he gonna have to give us something when it comes down to the hometown player of the week. But let's get into these games, man. I mean, shoot. I don't know. When on first glance, when you looked at the slate for week 3, I mean, were you optimistic? Were you, you know what I'm saying, fired up? Or was it like mining in the fucking desert? What's going on?
No, I don't, bro. Like I'm telling you right now, like with all the injuries that we just talked about, and all the interceptions we've seen, and all the scoring we've seen, and all the no field goals we've seen, and all the lack of punts we've seen. I was thinking last week, maybe we shouldn't go through every game, but now I think we almost have to.
Oh, okay.
Because of all the injuries and stuff.
True.
And then when I'm looking at every game, I mean, we don't have to go through every game, but when I'm looking at most of these games, there's always a carrot that you can look at and be like, huh. And then, so in my head, in the little time that I've had in the last 36 hours, I worked 24 of those hours, so didn't have a whole lot of time. Mm-hmm. But when I was looking at it this morning, I'm thinking, I think I see a lot of opportunity. I don't know about you, homie.
Okay.
But I think I see a lot of opportunity in these games. And we can start with tonight's game if you want.
Let's go, man. Well, I will tell you this.
Might be late to people, but I'm ready to. I got some good stuff, and we'll see how it turns out.
Well, let's go. I mean, I dug around and I got a little something, but I will tell you the nuggets and the information that comes into the homie investigating team desk in terms of information is rock solid. Okay, so this is one I got before I dig into the first game. 2-0 home teams in week 3. Okay, there's a stat for this. There's something that has been 60% win if you bet them all blindly, and I will tell you what that is. Okay, so who are the 2-0 teams that we currently have in place first? We got Tampa Bay, Carolina, Las Vegas, Denver, Frisco, LA Rams, and the Arizona Cardinals. So the statistic says if you were to bet all the 2-0 teams that are playing at home, okay, so that narrows it down even more. If you bet that, the over in those games, that is damn near 60% win percentage easy. Okay, so I'm going to drop that on y'all to begin with. That will give you something because we have an analytic point to go to. So that would lead you to San Francisco versus Green Bay. Okay, that will also lead you to, what was the other one? I had them all marked up. The Rams at home versus Tampa Bay, which I like the over in that anyway. Okay, but anyway, we're going to get into it. So that might play out. I just want to see if it actually plays out in what we were thinking. Okay,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to get into it. Go ahead.
Okay, so, we obviously talked about this last week where the primetime games were 3-0 going into week 2, right? And then all 3 primetime games, Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, and Monday Night Football for y'all out there, all hit the over this week. So there's week 2, I mean. So there's 6-0 now. So now that rolls into your factor tonight, right?
All right.
So 60% win of 2-0 teams hit the over on in their games at home, you said?
Yep, and that is since 2003, if I remember correctly. That's how big of a sample size that is.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I was saying that's how big the sample size is. 2-0 home teams going into week 3 because of the 2 weeks of managing the season. And if I remember correctly, the information was that team that is now 2-0 has their mojo, whether they survived a loss or they blew somebody out. They now have their mojo. They are 2-0. They can play fast and free, which has resulted into over games for those home teams in a big ass sample size going back to early 2000s. Okay. All right.
So I have a question out here, and it's going to be very interesting in about 2 hours when we see the inactive and the active report, right?
What we got?
So the only quarterbacks on the Houston roster are Davis Mills, whatever his name is, who's starting tonight, right?
You better speak on his name. Yeah, speak his name.
Davis
Put some
Mills.
respect on it.
Hey, straight out of the University of no one knows where the fuck he went to college at.
That don't mean shit.
Huh?
That don't mean shit. We don't know. We didn't know where Gardner Minshew was from unless you were from the Pacific Northwest. Neither.
Oh yeah, they did. They knew where Mustachio was from. Wow. And Deshaun Watson, bro. Does Deshaun Watson activated tonight?
Fuck no.
So who's the emergency quarterback?
David
Amendola?
David Culley.
David Culley?
Yeah.
Who the hell's that?
The head coach. Brandon Cooks. I don't know. He gonna throw it to it like what did Giselle Bundchen say? He can throw it and catch it to himself. Brandon Cooks gonna throw it and catch it to himself. I don't know, but we've got Houston hosting the Carolina Panthers in a few hours on a Thursday, depending on when you guys are catching this live from us at your leisure. Or Thursday night football. And we're talking about the hype train is live on Carolina, favored -8 over the home team, Houston Texans. And I think it's looking like 43 is the mark right now. I mean, this is one of those games where we're dealing with, something coming off of an injury. So Tyrod Taylor goes down. Davis Mills comes in. You're already jumping the gun saying that he ain't even going to finish the game. I mean,
nope, that's not what I'm saying. I have a tidbit to that. I have a finish.
All right. So, I mean, it doesn't really. He's going to be out there. He is the guy so far. They're not activating dude today because that's a bad look for the city in Houston and all of that. But the bigger point is, I mean, is Carolina that far upgraded? The line opened up at 4.5. Okay. So, they lost Tyrod Taylor. That should be good for a point. A little home field action. All right. Maybe 8.5, man. I don't know. I got Houston 5.5 games worse than Carolina. And they had 4.5 originally. So I'm probably closer than they are. What do I not know about Carolina? I mean, are they just getting started? Is this Sam Darnold thing real?
Their defense is the number one defense in the NFL right now.
You just said they was shit a segment ago.
Who, Carolina?
And I mumbled underneath it. I was like, man, they ain't that bad, man. You're tripping. And so you didn't even hear it because you over there too busy on the roll talking shit. Go ahead.
But you got to look at it this way. In my opinion, homie, that nobody has film on Davis Mills, bro. And you know what happens when first-time quarterbacks come in? This dude might run for 25 yards, 35 yards, keep the play alive, and keep the game close because the defense doesn't know what to expect from this kid, right? I literally have no idea where he's from. Never heard of him before. I haven't had a chance to look it up, and I will as soon as we're done with this. But I definitely like your over in this game. And it could be one of New York and Washington football team last week, right? Taylor Heineke has how many starts in his career? 4, and put on a show in New York or whatever. So I don't know. I like the underdog in this one, to be honest. I think they can keep it close. I'd like to get 8.5, maybe even 9 by kickoff.
Yeah, I would think that would be the only way. Before this injury, I would have thought, like I said, the Tyrod injury, I thought this game would be a little bit more accurately selected. And
yeah, I agree 100%.
I probably would stay in the same camp. I mean, I don't know. I like the over 43 in this, and that's just a subtle like. But I mean, when it gets up that high with Carolina and me not knowing exactly what goes on, I would stick with the trend of the nationally televised games taking the over. And I mean, I would lean Houston if you twisted my arm and the 8 because I mean, hey, they covered a double digit a minute ago with Tyrod. I mean, how much of a downgrade is Mills? I mean, is he that much of a
Nobody knows,
downgrade?
man.
Nobody knows. I mean, I don't know. So I mean, I'm not going to talk bad about the kid. I'm just going to let him ride out and say we'll probably be putting it on paper the over and turning in a ticket for that. But other than that, I don't think I have an opinion. I'll maybe look for some derivatives or maybe try to get a first or a second half or try to find an angle somewhere. Yeah, I mean, prior to game time.
I feel it. I'm with you there. Washington football team at Buffalo. Buffalo's a 7.5 point favorite. 45.5. Again, bro, I'm telling you, like, I look at each one of these games and I think it's just crazy right now with these spreads that they got this week in week 3. Taylor Heineke ain't no podunk player, man. He's the real deal. He just signed a deal with Bud Light because Heineken didn't want to come to the table or whatever.
Oh, so they about to go ham on Heineken. They about to go hard. Watch.
Yeah, so Taylor Heineke's gonna go out to prove a point there and make some money for himself. So good for him. I don't know if Buffalo's a 7.5 point favorite even at home, bro. Like I to be short and sweet about it, I'd take the underdog again in this one. Washington football team have to rely on their defense and Chase Young, like we've talked about before. I just don't think Buffalo's kicking on those cylinders yet early in the season.
I mean, I would probably give the points just because Washington's defense has not been what I thought it was going to be at the beginning of the year. They done gave up some ass these first 2 weeks. The line originally opened up at a -3 in favor of Washington. That's got to be a typo. This line opened Washington -3. I'm sure. So now think about how big of a downgrade they've been given with the Fitzpatrick injury. And then what else? Bad defense. I don't know. I think that this is one of those trap spots where they get you. I mean, the line was even up to 8.5 at some point this week. Good that it's down, that it's at 7.5, but even though what's the big difference between 7.5, or 7.5 and 8.5? Not much when you're playing. So I don't know. I'd probably lay the points and take Buffalo and be safe and just hope they did what they were supposed to do against Washington. Man, I don't really have a huge opinion. Rudy's hometown game. We've talked about a little bit. We can just we can fast forward, but another game with a quarterback replacement going down. We got Justin Fields taking the field. I wish that I had it handy. I'm sure you do. The rookie quarterback predictions on when Fields would get his first start. It is happening now. The Cleveland Browns are favored by a touchdown at home versus Chicago, and they got the point total at 48. I don't have any issues with that. I think because I saw Fields' head get crushed in preseason. I don't even remember what team that was, but didn't have Myles Garrett on it. Okay, unless it was the Rams. Hey, it's going to be hard. It's going to be tragic. I don't see a big situation going on here. I think Cleveland has that touchdown easy, man.
See, I don't know. I don't know about a touch. Well, let me put it this way. Justin Fields is going to be running for his life. I agree 100% because his offensive line, like average age is like 35 or something crazy like that, right?
They're horrible.
And they're not good. So, yes, I could definitely see this game being Cleveland's favor easily. But I think Justin Fields is going to be able to utilize his legs in this and maybe keep it close in an offensive standpoint. If I had to make a pick, I would roll with Cleveland, but I think that Chicago can cover.
Oh man, that's crazy. I don't even know.
But I mean, if I had to put money on it, I would definitely roll with Cleveland in the -7.
Yeah, that's just I don't even know how much I like that. I would just lean that way because right now it's just too much unknown, and then the price looks like it's I don't know, it's weird out there. You know what I mean? And coming up, we also have shout out to my boy Jared Goof, big time. It didn't look so big time like they always say. Goof does not play well in the elements. When it rains, there's precipitation, snow, anything like that. We saw what happened. It went all bad for him in this game. Detroit has the home game, and they are hosting the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens are favored by 8.5, and the total is sitting at 49.5 last time I looked. Probably, I don't see it jiggling around too much, especially after the performance that Goof put up. This is one where I'm just going with history on this one. I just seen that Harbaugh and those Ravens, when they have a horrible team that's in the bottom 5, they just smash them. It just happens. And it's not like, Goof might have put up a good game against the 49ers and on a nice comeback. He looked okay in the first half versus Green Bay. And he could do that same stuff again here. But what happened with Green Bay? It got out of hand late. And I can see the same thing occurring here because just like Kansas City was baffled by Lamar Jackson, I think the same thing or worse could happen here. The only way I would lean would be with Baltimore and the 8.5.
Well, that's prevalent on Lamar Jackson's hip being okay, right? Like if he's
right,
if he's safe and healthy to go after his flip into the end zone. What is Detroit at home? Goof, your boy, can sling the rock, bro. And they put up
what? Good, man.
They put 33 up on San Francisco at home or whatever in week 1. Gosh, that touchdown favorite right now is just eating at me, and I would roll with Detroit plus 8.5, and I'll even wait till it goes to 9 if that's going to happen. So I'm opposite of you, bro. I don't know, man. I like these underdogs this week for some reason. I'm just feeling it. I mean,
you might be onto something because Detroit's got some injuries in the secondary, but they just had them right now, and that's what I'm saying. The wheels could fall off at the end of this game, just like it did when in this last game with Green Bay. So I don't know, but I don't think nobody in the world wants to see their Baltimore Ravens quarterback by Tyler Huntley.
And we got Indy at Tennessee. So what is that? AFC South matchup with the Indianapolis being 0-2 and Tennessee squeaking out that win in Seattle.
Week 3.
And Tennessee's a Week 3 matchup in division, and Tennessee's a 5-point favorite in this one.
That's what I'm saying.
I can.
Jason,
I don't think Indy.
Jason Eason.
Jacob Eason, UW, baby, shout out, right?
Hey.
But I don't know. I guess sounds like Brett Hundley might actually get the start for Indy. So I think this is just one of those stay away games. Really have no idea of how the hell this is going to roll. Probably Tennessee -5 at home, easy with no Carson Wentz at the helm and no Jacoby Brissett coming out of the tunnel or whatever.
That's exactly the business right there, because what you're saying is, I mean, I would have to take the flyer on Tennessee, the favorite at home, because you're saying that if you gave them, because nowadays home field is not, we talked about that, is not worth as much as it used to be. So if you gave them 2 points, so you're saying that it's only a field goal and some change, a little bit over a field goal and the change difference between Tennessee and Indianapolis right now. I don't believe that that's a fact because of the quarterback situation. If this thing would have jumped up to 6.5 or something like that, I would be like, okay, I could understand it. But sitting at 5.5, the only way to go is Tennessee right there. So we got, this is a semi-big game, another divisional game. We got on the slate, Kansas City hosting the LA Chargers. Right now, Kansas City coming off that bad loss against Baltimore, laying 6.5 favorites. to the total of 55.5 on the Chargers. I don't know, man. The Chargers are doing what they are doing. I don't know how much stock I can put into what's going on out there. But I just know that Kansas City is underperforming, I think, because the year that they won the Super Bowl, their defense was super suspect that year, and they still won. They overcame that. They came back the next year, had the same suspect defense, and then lost the offensive line, and it turned tragic for them. They lost. The same thing is rearing its head this time again. They couldn't stop a damn person. Now, granted, it was Lamar Jackson most of the time, but I mean, they were letting people get loose out there. The Chargers got some names. I don't see this being an upset in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I mean, to be honest, I don't see the Chargers beating them. I just don't trust the touchdown win at all. Period. At 6.5, I don't trust it. If I was going to play anything, I would look to the Kansas City money line or something. But it would cost way too much. I already know.
Yeah, I think this is a get right game for KC. With that being said, though, I don't know. I believe that we both thought that they would be an easy touchdown favorite at home, or 3.5, at least 4.5 last week. At Baltimore. Even being just KC, right?
Right.
So being at home, maybe it's a get right game, but both of these offenses are top 5 in in passing yards.
Right.
So top 5, Kansas City's number 2, and the Chargers are number 4. With your boy Young Herb, like you talked about last year, he can sling it. He's got some weapons. I like their chance because I wasn't impressed with KC's defense last week. Even though they got that quick turnover at the beginning for a touchdown. I would definitely just lean the over in this one, 54.5, because I think both these teams can put up points.
Yeah, for sure. What else we got?
New Orleans, New England. I don't know if there's much to talk about here. New England's -3 at home, 42 over under. I'm gonna go ahead and just pass on this one to you, homie.
Well, the only thing, I mean, I feel like passing, but again, here we go with the storyline. So you got young crab legs, Jameis Winston, coached by Sean Payton, Super Bowl winning head coach, going against Bill Belichick in New England. Meeting of the minds. Is Payton going to get young crab motivated and fired up and focused enough to go up to New England on the road, get the job done for betting purposes? I don't know. I would like to think that New Orleans packs a defense, man. So I don't know. 42 seems a little bit young for me. I would probably look to the over.
You know what I like in this one? To be honest with you and us, big homie? The over 3.5 field goals.
That's a perfect scenario right there. Right there. Yo. We got Atlanta also playing the Giants at home. And the Giants are favored by 3. Now, this is one where this is a like for me. The Giants favored by 3, total 48. After seeing what I saw from Daniel Jones in a loss last week, I like the motivation that they got going out there. Meanwhile, Atlanta just keeps getting a mud hole stomped out of their ass. And it just ends up looking bad. So they could be one of those teams where we're talking about blowing it up. You know what I mean? So I don't know when the last time I seen the Giants favored against somebody. It's probably been a little bit, but I would probably this is a like for me. This is the Giants and the 3 points at home.
Yeah, I just don't think Atlanta's put it all together yet. With all the issues they had in the offseason, cutting players to hit the salary cap and all that. So, I don't even know about this one. I mean, I'd probably have to roll with New York Giants and -3 as well. And we got Cincy at Pittsburgh. -3, Pitts of -3 favorite. Cincy, 43.5 is the over-under. Even though Pittsburgh hasn't been the go-to points, putting up any big points, their defense stepped up last week a little bit. I just think that 43.5 is a low number if these teams aren't going to be kicking field goals, bro. I definitely just like the
Mason
over.
Rudolph. Oh, this is a heavy like for me, man. This is, I think, this is where Cincinnati comes out, man. Because like I said, I think Pittsburgh is the only team taking a regression back down to the mean. They're downgraded below an average team at this point. Now, if Big Ben doesn't play, you're left with Mason Rudolph. I don't know what the circumstances are going to be at that time, but there's enough there for me with the eye test to take Cincinnati +3.
I can't say I disagree with that. I like that as well because I think you reference it. Joe Burrow's, getting his legs under him, getting that knee feel better, getting more acclimated to the field again after that injury last year. And him and Jamar Chase could be a fantastic duo in the future, bro. They could be there a long time.
Let's talk about these fools since they're in our division. Arizona Cardinals on the road to Jacksonville. They're favored by seven. Total 52.5. I mean, I would like to be able to think that with all the turmoil in Jacksonville, that Arizona can handle this business and get up out of there on the East Coast and be all right without even tripping. But I don't have a real play on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what'd you have for the line? 7.5 or more? +7.5 or -7.5 for AZ?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if Arizona's anything that we think that they are right now, I think that's an easy AZ cover, in my opinion. I mean,
I don't have any reason to believe otherwise, right?
I mean, yeah, there's no way. Nothing tells us otherwise. And then Jacksonville, when are they going to get their get right game? It's definitely not going to be right. It's not going to be this week.
This one.
So, then we got the Jets at Denver. Denver's a 10.5 point favorite. And what did you say last week about Denver on House Big Homie?
What did I say?
I think you said something like, "Are they really for real?" or whatever. They were.
That's what I want to know.
13 point or whatever it was last week, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And then 41.5. So New York Jets at Denver. Denver's 10.5 favorite. Bro, I mean, this is one of those. I mean, I just talk shit about Trevor Lawrence not getting a get right game, kind of, right? But is this Zach Wilson's get right game? With Chubb being out, Chubb's out for Denver, so
what?
Man, I don't know what to call it, but I'm leaning to +10.5. I'll take the underdog again on this one. Zach Wilson's got to come around, bro, and we've seen him play in that altitude before in the Mile High City. Well, not in the Mile High City, but Salt Lake City or whatever the hell BYU is over there.
Okay, all right.
So Colorado, right? Or I don't even know.
Utah.
I better stop. Utah. That's what I meant. Utah.
Same thing.
So, hey, this is Zach Wilson's game, bro. He's gonna get his first win at Denver. I'm taking the Jets in this one, 10.5 at least. Maybe not get his first win, but he'll cover.
I have the dramatic pause, man. Well, you just shitted on my handicap because not only I don't know how Denver deserves this much love this early, but again, let's go back to what we said at the top. 2-0 home teams play the over. I'm doing that blindly. We're doing that. That's going down. Okay, so that's a heavy, especially with the 41. Yeah, come on. All right, so my other handicap was early part of the season in Denver. Teams struggle. That's just what it is. Now, I don't know if they struggle to the tune of trailing by 13 points, 11. I don't even know how you get there. You'd have to be 10 plus 3. Yeah, 13 points. I don't know about all of that. But teams, even though Zach Wilson may be accustomed to altitude playing in Utah, the rest of his team probably ain't. And that has always been something, a data point that always comes up at the beginning of the year playing in Denver. I would definitely take the over the 41 because I would feel confident in that bet, not blind. But I don't even think I have a lean on Denver in that situation, man. I don't know if they're 10 points better than anybody, damn it, at this point. I mean, if they play Detroit, I don't even think I would have them 10 points better. Miami, Vegas. Miami losing. Tua definitely already determined to be out. Jacoby Brissett, he's rolling around town talking about, I'm not a backup. I'm a starter. Recognize who I am. He's putting this out in the streets for whatever that's worth. He has started games in the league, so we know about him. Derek Carr status is still kind of questionable. He'll probably play.
Carr's injured too?
Yeah. He's a gamer, though. He will play. But here's the deal. Miami just looked so horrible last week, even with the 3 quarters that Brissett was on the field. There's no way I would look any kind of way at them. And once again, this is another game, 2-0 home team, betting it blind, Vegas over 45, book it. This might even be one where I would say we could bubble up and take that 3.5 since it's already over the hook anyway. You might as well just go ahead and do it because the Raiders can make that happen. If their fans learn when to them cheer, shut the hell up. Okay, shut the fuck up when your offense is on the damn field. I know y'all ain't been nowhere for a year and a half, but know how to act, know how to be a fan, know what side to cheer on. Damn it, shit. Even Peyton said that.
Hey, this sounds like a Nas Big Homie starting to lean towards the overs a little bit there. So,
data points.
Yeah, we like those. The low numbers, man. They're just crazy a little bit. Hey, we're going to take a quick 1-minute time out. Is that all right with you, homie?
We got to take a pause for the cause.
Yeah, we got to make sure we get crack a cold one, Coors Light, Michelob Ultra. I'm double fisting here for y'all till we get that sponsorship. They're still in limbo. So wash your damn hands, get that damn shot. Not even going to go there. We'll be right back.
Now back to your weekly sports fix with Stix.
Yo, I'm back. What's happening? Had to go take care of a little wood chipping and sawing and pounding and all that stuff that's going on outside here in this apartment complex on a Thursday that's been going on for 3 damn months and shit like that.
Let me find out that you're a general contractor part-time.
Man, maybe I had to go lay down the law real quick. Nah. Man, so we back. Hey, speaking of sponsorships and Nas Big Homie, before we get into the next game, anybody out there who has a piece of information, knows anybody who wants to help sponsor the Sports Fix with Stix and Nas Big Homie podcast, we'd be more than interested to speak with you. So send them our info, send us their info, whatever. We can chop it up and see what's cracking.
Yes, sir.
What you got, homie? What's a big game at a 1 o'clock, 1:25 hour on Sunday?
Shoot, well, let's get into it. Shoot, hey, the big game of the week. Okay, week 3, Tampa Bay. We already talked about this early. Tom Brady coming into the greatest arena in the world, SoFi Stadium, to visit the LA Rams. This line has done jumped all over the place, man. I lost track because like 20 minutes after I put my information together, I heard the line had already moved again. It opened up at 2.5. I saw that for the Rams, I saw -1 Tampa Bay. Now I'm seeing it continue to move towards Tampa Bay, like 1.5. What do you see of that?
Yeah, I see Tampa Bay -1.5 right now.
Okay, that's what I figured. Okay, so yeah, man. But again, this being one of those, I'm gonna bet it blindly. This is also my hometown play of the week. since it falls with my data point that I've been talking about, 2-0 home teams always taking the over. I was going to take the over in this game anyway, as I alluded to early, 55.5.
What's wrong with you, homie? Where you coming from, bro? How many overs? If I had $1 for every time that you say over this time.
Hey, look, if you know, then you know. If you get blessed with some information, then you'll be an idiot not to at least consider it. And that's all I'm doing, keeping my eyes open and my ears peeled for new information always, man. I mean, I'm telling everybody to bag up off the Rams right now because the defense is mad suspect. Okay.
All defenses are mad suspect. I agree with you there.
Man, I mean, okay, so last year I said the same thing. Okay, but I still had faith. But, even with quarterback issues. But last week was like, yeah, come on, man. I just don't see the same level of effort in the first half. Like they just let teams do whatever they want in the first half. And even before we got Carson Wentz up out of there, they were moving the ball and handling their business. I don't think Tom Brady is playing those type of games, okay? He is with that smoke. He wants all of it. He's waiting to see Aaron Donald, Joseph Day, everybody we got. Ramsey going to have to go to work. But this game also has features. This weekend, who got it? Take a pause for the cause. It has been confirmed through Adam Schefter, Bucks wide receiver Antonio Brown was placed COVID reserve list today. He tested positive. As we know, players that test positive that are vaccinated can return after 2 negative tests if they're 24 hours apart. At this point, we don't know the status of Antonio Brown, so therefore, it's going to be hard for us to say if he's going to be on the field. But guess what? I mean, they got number ones all out there anyway. They're sharing the ball anyway. Okay, right. So at this point, I don't think that it matters. The one person, one less weapon, okay, good. That might even the score a little bit. But this is going to be the first tough matchup. The way that this game turns out is going to have a big bearing on the way that I look at my Rams, Rams house, how I'm going to look at them for the rest of the year moving forward.
I got a couple things on this, Nas Big Homie. So we haven't hit on the hometown power rankings yet, but you've had KC up there for the last 2 weeks, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
And then you moved Tampa Bay up to number 1 this week in week 3, going into week 3. I've had Tampa Bay up there all week. Since the beginning, from week 1 and week 2, I had Tampa Bay up there, and I had KC 2, and I moved LAR up to 3 last week after week 1. This was hard for me this week in the power rankings, and we're talking about LAR and Tampa Bay right now. So with LAR, your Rams facing my number 1 power ranking team right now, this week, it was hard for me. I almost flip-flopped them, bro. Like, I want to flip-flop the Rams and I want to put Tampa Bay down. This week will determine who the number 1 power ranking is, in my opinion, for my power rankings. Whoever wins this game will be number 1 after this week, okay? And I am full on. I will take as many points as Vegas and Snoqualmie Casino want to give us on your Rams, because I believe that the Rams is the Rams at home versus Tampa Bay is a lock of the week. I think, they're going to win this game outright. I take the money line on this.
Okay. I was waiting for that.
With your defensive line with Donald and what's his name? Homie.
Everybody. Joseph
everybody.
Day,
the whole defensive line.
Yeah,
Donald,
everybody.
Jalen
Ramsey, everybody.
Even though we talked about Tampa Bay wanting to go 17-0 or whatever they want to do this year, this isn't gonna. They're bound to lose one here and there, and this might be the one. And I'm all in on the Rams this week. If you said it started out at the Rams being favorite,
2.5.
the favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it went to a plus money on this with the Rams being at home. Long travel for them. I'm not saying that Tampa Bay's not ready. They have a lot of weapons with Mike Evans, even with Antonio Brown out. Gronk's got 4 touchdowns in 2 games. Yep. But I just think that the Rams are going to step it up at home and make the NFC West be 3-0 in the NFC West, in my opinion.
The only time Tom Brady has any kind of issues or trouble out on the field is when they can get pressure straight up the middle. And we saw that with the Rams versus the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And we've also seen that since when teams can make that up, get that going up the middle, that rush up the middle, because Brady, as we know, is not the most mobile individual in the world. And that's where you have to bring the pressure. So if you can bring that pressure right there, you can get him to struggle. I'd love to see what that the Rams bring this together, because it's hard to say. What do we know that's happened since the line opened? Tampa Bay has, threw up some points. Tom Brady's got touchdowns. The Rams have been everybody's favorite. But why does the line move so far the other direction? I don't know. I think it's an overreaction. I would tend to agree with you, if anything, but I would take that over the 55.5 points. Super easy, though.
Yeah, I think that's a given. And speaking of 55.5, we have another 55.5 over under. Seattle at Minnesota. Seattle's only favored by 1 on the road against Minnesota. I don't know if Dalvin Cook's healthy, but if there's anybody
he came back in the last game.
Did he come back in?
He came back into the last game.
Yeah, well, if there's anybody I don't want to see other than Derrick Henry, it's Dalvin Cook that I don't want to see. Again, another running back that can put a hurting on you and get a lot of touches and get a lot of runs. And we just saw what Derrick Henry did last week. I think this is one of those stay away games. I don't know if I would think that Seattle and Minnesota could put up 55.5, but again, we don't know what these teams do in the second half and how they're going to play it. And if the first half is suspect, and I don't believe in Seattle's defense. I mean, if I'm Minnesota, I'm just pounding the rock 15 times in the first half with Dalvin Cook, and I'm going to give him the ball 15 more times in the second half. They just saw what could happen with the Seattle defense against Tennessee when they get broken down and give up 500 yards and a few touchdowns. So I think that the Seattle defense is a little suspect right now, but we'll see what happens. A little, right, is an understatement, but there's a lot of ways I want to go with this, and I think that's just a stay away game. I usually bet the over under or the line a little bit to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Does Russ come out and did they put a good game plan together where they can get the Lockett and Diva DK involved in the offense, or does DK score a touchdown and get ejected for this, his second personal foul or his second taunting penalty because he can't keep his head on straight or whatever? So this is interesting to me, but I think they can win by a field goal. They're not going to win by a touchdown. They're not going to win by that. The line's only -1, right? Mm-hmm. So that tells you something for them on the road. But, they may get a field goal. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a heart-wrencher just like every game that the Seahawks play. My hometown play of the week is DK gets ejected. Or what do they call that? They don't call it ejected. Disqualified. DK gets disqualified is one of my hometown plays of the week. And
can we play that? What do we get? We get plus money on that?
I think that'd be a hell of a plus money play. But the other one, in real talk, my hometown play of the week is DJ Reed gets a pick 6 for the cornerbacks in the Seattle defense. He'll get a pick six off of Kirk Crazy Cousins there. So that's my hometown play of the week.
Yeah, man.
It's a scary game, dog. It really is scary.
Well, the Vegas is on their is at work. They're on their job. There is no advantage here for anybody. So you just have to feel how you feel and be wrong or right about it. I would lean Minnesota here just because of what I saw with Derrick Henry. If that can go on, Dalvin Cook is a step below that in terms of that. If he's still running out there. But the bigger thing is Minnesota's 2-0. I don't give a damn what the record say. Okay, Minnesota's 2-0. They lost 2 coin flips. 2 coin flips. One going into overtime and lose. They tied at the end of 4 quarters and lose against the Bengals, and then come back week 2, same situation with the damn Cardinals. So not no overtime in that too, but you still had a missed field goal by Joseph, I think his name is, for the Vikings. But other than that, they played the Cardinals even. And the Cardinals been blowing shit up. I got to keep it real. I got to look at the numbers. I can't be playing all of this other funny stuff. I take the eye test and I put that secondary. But I got to look at this number, man. There's no advantage because it opened up at 2.5. So they were saying originally that this was a field goal game. Now it's less than that, which is basically the same. I mean, how many 1-point victories do you see, even though, the Cardinals just got one against Minnesota last week, but you don't see 1-point victories. You ain't seeing no 2-point victories. So the only advantage is to take the plus points and play Minnesota. That's it. I mean, that's all you could do. I mean, you could play Seattle and go with the heart play in hopes that all of these things turn out right. Right, that the defense comes through and that Russell's still going and they don't deviate from the game plan. Because you had Carson do jack week 1 and then come out, put a couple of scores in the books and things like that. So what exactly are they doing? Are they having trouble with offenses too? I don't know. Okay, so but for me, the only thing to do with 1.5, since I can't tease this, which we need to find out if Snow will let us tease. If we could tease this, then I would do something. But the only way to go is the dog, man. That's the only way to play at 1.5.
I can't even be mad at that, bro, because I'm 100% agree with you on that. I think that's the way that it could go down, because we all know that Seattle keeps it close. So if they don't play up to par, then they could easily give it away. So can't even be mad at you on that one. So
now I hope for better results for the team in general, but like I said, just looking at the numbers, if I didn't know any of the names on any of them teams, I would have to play it that way. At home? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
All the Viking clapping and all that shit. I mean,
Skull.
Yo. Where are we at? Oh, coming down
Sunday
to the last
night.
2 games.
How come the Rams
Sunday.
and Tampa Bay aren't a Sunday night game? How do you not even put that on the schedule? I know it's not a flex week, but how are the Rams and Tampa Bay not a Sunday night game in week 3 when you're making the schedule? I don't know. That's just my opinion. Sorry, go ahead.
I think they're saving all of the heat for the Sunday night Patriots versus the Tom Brady situation.
Oh, I got you.
Next week. That's what they're doing. But nevertheless, we got now here we go. This is my best bet. We got Green Bay going into San Francisco. We talked about this. Of course, I'm going to keep coming back to it because we talked about these narratives in preseason. Aaron Rodgers visiting San Francisco, going back home to the Bay Area with a team that he supposedly flirted with before the draft and then I don't know. The San Francisco wanted to do this and that from the quarterback position. Now they're left with what they have, and guess what they have is Jimmy G balling. Okay, that's just what's going on. But they don't have a damn thing to do with what I think about this, because San Francisco is favored by 3.5. Okay, and I'm not with that. That is not happening. Okay, but once again, here we go. Prime time. Let's go with the trend again. Let's bet that blind 49.5. We'll take that over. We'll push that all the way up. Steam it. Let it go. And best bet, the over. This might even be the best bet parlay right here too. But I will be smart and I would play them separately. Don't be a sucker. Play them separately. Play to win. Green Bay plus 3.5. You got to do it. Coming off the performance that they threw down. San Francisco, even though I did hear information that Rodgers formerly struggles in San Francisco when he plays against them in that defense. But guess what? San Francisco has major injuries. You got one of the kids that's hot on the street that's in the secondary that's out for the season. I haven't seen Nick Bosa back out there. Last week, I wasn't really looking, but I saw him warm up and I didn't see his uniform number out there. So they're still dealing with defensive injuries, and this is not the place to have defensive injuries. I would say, coming off of what I got, RELAX, relax, Green Bay plus 3.5.
If Green Bay is anything like they were last week and after their week 1 debacle that nobody believed, if you're in the right mindset of watching football, no one believed that Aaron Rodgers was going to be terrible all year. I would definitely agree with the over 50 on this one. I think both teams can put up some points. I mean, what else does San Francisco have to offer? They don't have a choice. They don't have a running back. Roger Craig ain't walking through that door. I keep stealing your lines there, and now it's big homie. Roger Craig ain't coming through there.
Tom Rathman is not running through that door right now.
I love it.
Matt Millen is not running through that door right now.
If we get 3.5, I would definitely take plus 3.5 Green Bay on this one. Aaron Rodgers is gonna has a lot of weapons, man. And Aaron Jones just showed what he could do last week as well. Another Sunday night football game of your quote unquote best bet, anonymous big homie. I'm not going to throw you under the bus, but I think you know what your best bet was last week, which I agreed with. It was a 100% lock. Yeah, I feel it.
To the best of us. It's foolish.
Hey, but you know what the point of this like we just discussed through this whole thing, bro, I think this is the week to make a bounce back. And I 100% feel confident in what we've talked about so far, for sure. So bounce back week 3. Now we know a little bit about more of these teams, even with the injuries and how they play first half, second half. So we know what we see, and the numbers, sometimes don't lie there, right? We got some facts and some information about these teams now. So I'm 100% in on the 3.5 with Green Bay for sure, getting those points. So Monday Night Football game is going to be a pretty damn good one, in my opinion.
Divisional.
Divisional. Oh, there you go. Yep, another division game. Philly at Dallas. Dallas is favored by 3.5 at home. 51.5. I think this is another one of those overs. Is this the does this go to the nope. They're only Dallas is 1-1. I forgot about the opener, Tampa Bay. So Philly at Dallas. They seem to have the get right game last week for Dallas. So you know what? I'm interested to see what happens on Monday night. Dallas didn't put up a whole lot of points against the Chargers defense, so only scored 20 last week. A little bit off from what they score against Tampa Bay, 29. So I don't know about this. I'll have to wait till Monday night rolls around again. If Thursday night football and Sunday night football hit the overs to make it 8-0 for the week, I think the odds are definitely in our favor for hitting the over on Monday night when we hit the Monday night play. But right now, looking forward to see what Hurts can do against that Dallas defense and what Dak can do against the Philadelphia defense. So it's going to be a good game, I think, Monday night under the lights. But right now, I definitely have to lean the over on this one. Looking forward to the Monday night game.
Yeah, this is a divisional rivalry game, and these dudes don't like each other, and they both have had funny stuff happening with Philly. Didn't have wide receivers last year. The birth of Jalen Hurts last year, being a fantasy darling and all of this, but at the same time, the Cowboys played without Dak Prescott for the most part of all of last year. They ended up being a dumpster fire. Now both of these teams come back ready to go in system. Philly looks good, except for they lost and only put up 11 points last week versus the 49ers, just when you thought that they were on to something. I don't know. I have these teams 3.5 points apart, with Philly being a half point below average team. So the line is right. I just have to look somewhere else to try to find an advantage, but I mean, it's not in the line. Should we like to over with Philly and the 49ers last week, and it didn't turn out as I just talked about, with a total of 18 on the scoreboard when it all went final. So,
yeah, that's true.
I don't even know what I would think, what I think about these guys. I probably just look for a different angle somewhere or pass.
Team points or over under field goals would be probably a good one at this point when we think both these teams should put up some points. Well, Dallas hasn't yet, and Philly hasn't yet, but you think that they'd have the weapons to put up points, but maybe over or under field goals might be something to look at. We'll look at that Monday night.
Sweet. Well, that's all the games. But to recap, we talked about last week's hometown plays of the week. You had Chris Carson 100 yards and a TD, ended up with 31 yards and 2 TDs. Not bad. I would take it. I had Tyler Higbee with an anytime touchdown. It did not happen. Those touchdowns went to Cooper Kupp, but pretty much the same routes and that kind of thing happened. So, of course, I will take that any day, all day. So, I mean,
the plays of the week are thrown out there because we want to have a little fun with it and see what we can come up with. But I like that Higbee TD, bro, because, I mean, he might not have any. Do you have a TD this year? I forgot to look it up.
Yeah.
He has one or whatever?
Yeah, one the first.
Dude, he could easily end up with 10 with that offense, in my opinion. Easily end up with 10. Might be a play to look at next week as well. Yo, I don't know if you got anything on NFL, but I got something else I need to shout out.
Go ahead, lay it down.
As we talk about the over-unders in football, the Mariners might be back on their over-unders in baseball, finally, after a few game stretch where they didn't hit the over-under. They already hit 10 today, up 6-4 right now at Oakland. Man, a wild card chase, bro. Like, I don't know how. It's going to be a stressful next 10 games for some Seattle Mariner fans. I know your Dodgers are locked in. They're good, but shout out to my boy Kyle Seager, 35 homers and 100 RBIs. Can't be mad at that. The player option next year for him is $15 million. So be interested to see how the Mariners do that. After you put up numbers like that, even though the batting average isn't there, I don't know how you don't keep him around. I mean, he's getting into his prime there, and just
this is a contract year for him.
He's got the player option, which means I believe that
they're gonna get nothing for him. They should have traded him at the deadline. He's gonna leave. He's gonna bounce.
Well, I think he can't. Yeah, I think he can leave, or he can stay for the certain amount. But dude, at 2.5 games out, right now. They could pick up a half a game if they win today. So it's going to be interesting. 10 games left, so we'll see what happens.
I don't know, man. Toronto's going to get in, man. At least I think they are. That's crazy, but I think Toronto's going to get in, man.
Yeah, I'd like to think that Toronto's one of those favorites. So their schedule, Boston's schedule and Toronto's schedule favors them too, for sure.
You know how it always is. You get down to the end of the season, like we talked about the other week. You end up with that San Francisco Giants versus Dodgers 4-game series when it's all boiling down. And once again, this weekend, it always comes down to the Red Sox and the Yankees. And so
right,
it's just one of those things, man. One's gonna be in, and the other one's gonna slide in, or the other one's gonna ride the other one out, and that's how they do each other. So I mean, I think that if they can ride the Yankees out, Toronto will make it in, because it's 2 wild cards, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah. So what do we got? We got New York, or Boston, New York, and Toronto and Seattle, all within 2.5. So, Boston and New York are up there right now, and then Toronto's a half game out. They keep flippy flopping between those three. It's going to be a wild ride, brother. It's going to be a wild ride.
They just say, hey, man, they make a couple moves, man. Hey, you might be able to see something, but you know how it goes.
Well, I think we'll close it out for everybody. That was a lengthy one, but hey, we appreciate everybody listening. Thank you very much. Shout out to Rudy for coming on. Thanks. We'll get Aaron Jones back on here soon. Anybody else who wants to come on, let us know. Don't forget to subscribe.
I don't know about anybody. Don't forget to anybody.
Subscribe, rate, and review the show. Go to thisisfunner.com for more podcasts and online content. Grab some merch while you're there from the Funner family. Follow me on Twitter at Stix015 and follow this guy, homie, at anonymous big homie at homie_anonymous. Brother, another good show. We appreciate everybody listening. So thanks. What you got for the people, anonymous big homie? I know you got something.
Man, good looking out, man. It's always a good time when we get together and share this information, man. But, man, it's been a tough week for some people out here. Shoot, I come to find out I had better week than some people I know, namely Conor McGregor. Man, this dude goes to the VMAs, right? And he don't know how to act. He throwing beers at singers and rappers or whatever Machine Gun Kelly is. Now, what would have happened if he would have bust Megan Fox in the face with that beer can? Ooh, it would have been a national problem out here. Then to top that all off, come to find out, he throws like a girl.
Look. Okay. And you know what? A real quick note on that. Sorry, cut you off, homie. If anybody saw the press conference when he was fighting, one of his UFC press conferences, he was throwing water bottles from the stage at Nate Diaz, I believe. So he should have known he doesn't know how to throw. Before, what you got?
Yeah. All that, man, look, I didn't think that now recently I'm having better weeks than anybody. This year with Conor McGregor, that's funny. This is funner.
That was Sports Fix with Stix. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the show. If you want to join the show, use the hashtag StixandSports.
Winners don't make excuses.